Good evening and welcome to The Real Study with your hosts, MrSniDBitS.
So like two teams with that movie, it seems like either people love it or they hate it. Okay, I do too. I do too.
Yeah. BlackGirlMarvel.
I cried laughing. That was hilarious.
Tyler Makes Films.
It's meant for us to kind of contemplate. Like, I don't think his response to me is completely appropriate. Like, it makes sense that he would react that way.
Allthemoviethings.
I think the thing why I enjoyed it more too was the fact that we were going to talk about it from this perspective.
Lieutenant Commander Ray.
I can watch them. I never find anything wrong with them. I love them every single time I watch them. And this absolutely qualifies on that list.
And me, the Real Study movie voice guy.
I probably would have been in love with this movie as well if I had watched it earlier, like when it came out or maybe right after.
Let's go to the poster wall.
Welcome to The Real Study. My name is MrSniDBitS, and this is, of course, week 5 of season 3 of The Real Study. And we are here with, not all the movie things. We do have BlackGirlMarvel. She is to my left, as always. We do have Lieutenant Commander Ray, and we do have a special guest who, if you're looking, is way off to the side over there. We'll get him moved over here where he belongs. This is Justin Quizon, and he's, of course, a TikToker, a director, a producer, amongst many other things, a movie aficionado, if you will. And we want to, of course, say welcome to Justin, who is our guest. And I would love to hear from you, sir, if you're willing, to tell us a little bit about what you do. I know I've seen some of your short films that you've posted on your Linktree, and I know that that's something that you're passionate about. But tell us more.
Hello. Yes. Thanks for that intro. You nailed the name. Good call. Good job. And yeah. And I'm a filmmaker and a podcaster as well. Basically, been a film fan for the majority of my life. Got into film through my older brother, who was also a filmmaker, documentarian, and he exposed me to the classics cinemas like Casablanca, Singing in the Rain, and he made he was kind enough to sit through movies I wanted to see, like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and Rockadoodle. So those are kind of that was my film upbringing, is the stuff I really liked, and then the stuff he exposed me to that got me into film in general. And I do like social media videos, and I've helped produced a feature film that is now available called Lumpia with a Vengeance. So you can buy that now digitally on Amazon or Apple, etc. So, yeah.
Is it on Vudu by chance? That's where.
Yes, it is. I do believe it is on Vudu.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to take a look. And howdy to Biggie, who is in our chat. We do have a live chat that's going on, Justin. So if you ever want to jump into either YouTube or Twitter, you can actually jump in and say hi to them and answer any questions they have live or here, however you want. You can either way. Like we said, very, very open. La will be right back. Something happened with her feed, and she will return. Ray, how you doing today?
I'm tired. I'm exhausted. The weather is insane here. It's just so inconsistent at this time of year. And I actually didn't go to sleep last night.
Oh no.
Because I had to, I have insomnia, and I had to be somewhere at 5:45 this morning. So I have slept 3 hours in the last 2 days.
Well, we appreciate you being a trooper. I didn't know you hadn't slept, or I wouldn't have threw you the invite. But no, always glad to have you, of course. Lala is, of course, doing her thing, so she'll be back. But we can talk about any movie news that you guys know about. I know that there's a whole slew of movies that have been announced, since the strike ended. I know it's not still technically, we're not 100% there yet, but they've all but ended it. We've all basically been given permission to go back to what we do, which is great. And we hope that gets solidified. That being the kind of the old news now, which is weird. There's a ton of new movies, a ton of new shows that have been announced. I just did some trailer reactions this week for Imaginary, which is the teddy bear with imaginary friend built into it. Probably not a great thing. It's a Blumhouse production. Then there was also the Ghostbusters trailer from like 2 weeks ago, right when the strike was about
Yeah.
to end. We've got Madam Web that's coming out with the trailer dropped.
Right.
And then, of course, now we're starting to get some clear answers on where things like the MCU are going to go and where DC might go, rather than just speculation about what James Gunn is doing. We're actually going to start getting some dates. But if you guys have anything you've heard about that you're excited about, any movie you want to bring up, now's the time, because we don't have a formal news segment right now. But we'll definitely get back to it.
I'm pretty excited about the theatrical re-release of The Abyss. They announced the 4K up, I was gonna say up-res, that seems wrong. Remastered of The Abyss. Abyss is one of my favorite James Cameron movies.
It might be one of his most in-depth. Sorry, that's terrible. Tyler's not here. Tyler's our pun guy, so normally he would do that. So
yeah, no, someone's got to fill that gig.
Yeah.
I get it. It's the first time Cameron got spent a lot of money to work in water, and dude likes his water. Dude likes his water. like he loves water so much he made a whole movie that's all CGI water, and it still costs like $300 million. And like
he even called it water.
Even called it water. It's in the title.
Yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward, but I am looking forward to that movie. I think The Abyss it was getting to the point where The Abyss was almost being forgotten because
so that begs the question.
Talking about that much.
And I am excited about it too. Great movie. You're not wrong. I know that Brian's probably stoked because all the movie things would have gone off about that today because he's already.
Oh, I know.
True. So he's excited. But does that mean that Aliens is kind of moist because of that? I mean, it just it's more moist than Alien, right? Like it just feels. Sticky.
Aliens
I don't know.
is more moist than Alien. I think that is not a wrong jump because of think of all the vapors and
everything's kind of slick.
There's
They're
a
all
sheen.
sweating, right? There's a sheen.
Yeah.
That's the way to put it. There's a sheen over the whole.
There's a larger sheen. Like, that wasn't in Ridley Scott's film.
No. Only the critter, was sheeny, if you will.
Sheeny. No. Sheeny.
No, that is a word, but that's a bad word. That's not even what I meant it as. Anyway, okay.
Biggie said, Brian, I want a steelbook. Oh my god.
Yes, he will. He's already so excited that they're going to be releasing it.
Is there a 4K version? Can I have it?
Yeah.
Brian does a lot of the on Twitter. He'll be like, okay, when's the 4K version of this? When's the
my favorite
that?
It's my favorite. If there's one thing for sure, he's gonna at the studio for a 4K version.
Yeah.
And then talk about Roger Deakins right after.
Correct.
Exactly. 4K Roger Deakins set. That will be Brian's dream.
A steelbook of Roger Deakins, like not even a movie, just a steelbook of him, right?
Him.
Steelbook of him.
He'll be so excited.
It's called the Daddy Deakins edition, and
and it's gray because it's got the same as his hair. It's like a
exactly
box.
exactly.
And then Brian's just like. Right?
Yeah,
because he gets real close, right? Those are like his. That's what he does. I love it. But it's great because everybody that's on this show or that's been like a part of it, I met everybody from TikTok. Like, there's not another platform that I met any person that's ever even been a guest on this show, which is bizarre to me.
Are they as fun as us? Like, TikTok is the revolution, and I don't care what anyone says. I don't think I've ever been as connected to like humans that I've met online than I have with TikTok. And I've had social media since like AIM chat, when it was like weird and the chat rooms, and like there was like the height of the times where like, oh my god, we had chat rooms. And now I'm like, I have phone numbers of human beings that I met on the internet in my cell phone. Like it's a completely different type of thing.
Back then they were all creepy, right? They were all like everybody was creepy, even if they weren't. By default,
that's fair.
They were creepy. Yeah. But I think it's because we can actually get to know each other on a personal level. Well, it's I should say pseudo personal because it's still fake. Because we all put a little something on our TikToks, even if it's just sitting up straight or a
Wait, can you hear Law?
poise or a something, right? And then there's people like me. I literally edit and I like do takes until I'm like, okay,
I
that's
don't think
better.
so.
So
ICQ, Biggie, yes. Can you hear La?
no, I cannot. Is
Oh,
she
okay.
here? Okay.
She is here.
She's back, but now I have to re-add her.
Oh,
That's why. Okay.
you're right. The
I will.
live doesn't show her.
It doesn't.
Oh.
Yeah. So bear with me. I will re-add her so we can get
Law
her
wants to.
take on all of this.
Law wants to point out that
I
it's a
didn't even
tactic,
notice
and
that
she
the
wasn't
live
rumored.
hadn't updated.
Now where did
Oh,
I
she
put
came
her?
back
Okay,
in.
there it is, right there. Boom,
There you go.
and she should be back. Huzzah!
That's
Computers
there
are
she is.
for sure gonna computer.
yeah. Can you hear me, Snitty?
I can
Perfect.
now.
There we go.
Which
Yeah.
means if I
Okay.
can hear you, that means the world can hear you. That's what that
Sweet.
means. That's
So
how that,
I wonder if they heard the dickwad part. But anyway,
no, they didn't, and neither did I. So that works.
no, it's cool. No, I wasn't calling you a dickwad. I was calling my computer a dickwad, just to get that clear. I don't want you to think that I was put that towards you.
We've
I was
had
trying to say
enough
about the
episodes
internet
about
thing.
dickwads. We don't need to keep going into the wads.
Yeah, I know. Look at Ray. Ray's like, I didn't come here for this. This is not what I came here for. No, because I was saying about the social media thing. Like, I've been on social media, I mean, for as long as it's been around, I guess, like internet and all that type of stuff. And I've literally have friends in every aspect of whatever was hot at the time. So I had like AOL people that I talked to all the time, MySpace people, Facebook people. Because when like Facebook Messenger popped up, oh man, you would have thought that I was the coolest chick online with all the people. And then now with TikTok and stuff, and it's like the communication is just like vastly more improved, and you can go live with another person. The same thing with like Instagram, because they're all pretty much the same thing, the same entity essentially, but you can go live with people and you can like have these conversations. It's way easier to podcast with people because you can be like, let's meet in a chat room and stream it places, or or I just think, I don't know, in great ways technology has helped, and in some ways it has hampered.
I remember the day that La stitched me for the first time when I basically trashed Tony Stark.
I was mad about that.
And she came in and she was like, "Nah, dude, like, nah." Like, nah.
Like,
and so,
nah, you're wrong.
and that sparked this like debate that created a friendship. That was
I was like, you're like, let's dive in. Let's delve.
I'm still right
into the psyche of Tony Stark, because you're wrong, sir.
He's no hero. He's very selfish. It's fine. It's fine.
No, he is a hero. He evolved into one. He didn't start out as one.
You can be selfish and be a hero if you are a hero because you've overcome how selfish you are. He was still selfish, but not nearly as bad as that's not the point of the show, but not nearly as bad as he was in the first movie.
This is my symbol pointing out what team I'm on. So I just seen
Listen, I'm a fan of everyone, but I'm also a firm believer that who you start out to be is not who you initially end up being. 100%. And I can't say because I'm not like a diehard Tony Stark fan. Like, I'm not one of those. Like, I'm a fan of everybody, and I could say when you at fault and when all that type of stuff, because Cap not perfect either. We're gonna be honest. Like, we can talk about Cap all day, but with Tony, when I'm saying look at Snitty, but with Tony, he started off supremely selfish, and even when he was doing good things, he was still selfish. But I would say towards the end, towards like, the Iron Man 3 and then like to Endgame, I didn't see him as a selfish person. Maybe not being honest with people. I didn't see him as being selfish. Ooh. I felt like he started to do things to protect the world, and he might have done it without help, because he was like, I have the knowledge to do this, but I don't see that as being selfish. Selfish is self-gain, and he was doing a lot of things for the protection of others.
Where we talk about this,
we should, because we did, but we got a part two. Because I feel like he was like this conversation all day. Not even comic book like Tony is complex. MCU Tony is just as complex. So it's just, we can definitely do that. BlackGirlMarvel. Come on.
Justin's already tired of this conversation. He's over there yawning, and he just doesn't.
It's like, I wasn't here to talk about Marvel. I can.
It's all good.
He was like, when did you contact me before?
why don't we, now that we're all here and ready to go? One, I noticed we have a ton of people that showed up. This could be the earlier time that's doing this for us. And so
Yay!
we've got
Thanks
a
for
ton of
being
viewers,
here,
10
everybody.
people
I can't see you though.
watching live. That's the most we've had
cool.
this season. So thank you for that. And
Nice.
hopefully you'll enjoy these conversations about two extremely tear-jerking films as we get into some serious topics. Actually, I got hold on.
I'm gonna say one for me. One was a tearjerker for me.
Law is louder than everyone else, I'm being told. Wow.
Oh wow.
We will have
Sweet.
to- we will have
Finally.
to turn her down. Okay. There we go.
Nice.
All right. So
Loud
why don't
and
we
proud
get
of
right
it.
into Marcel the Shell? This is one I've been wanting to talk about on this show for a while because it was one that
Very true.
I actually talked up and promoted when it came out and got really excited. I'm a big A24 person in general, as everybody knows. So that's why we do a lot of A24 on the show, but whatever. But I want to know who saw Marcel the Shell before I asked. No, but Justin said he had. Okay. So why don't we take Ray's take on Marcel the Shell and see where this leads us? What was your initial impression of Marcel the Shell?
So I actually didn't remember it being like an internet sensation. I don't know what my life was doing that back then, but it wasn't watching Marcel on YouTube. And so when I watched it, like I think I have kind of like, what is it? Anthropomorphism. I don't have like an issue with things that are not innately humanoid. So that doesn't bother me. So I thought it was really sweet. I thought there was a lot of life lessons. I thought the story was super deep. And I watched it like after we had assigned the movies. I watched it on Thursday, and then last Sunday we didn't meet, or we did, but not to like stream. But I went over to my brother's house because he was cooking dinner for me for my birthday, and I made my brother and my niece watch it. So I watched it 2 days in a row.
That's awesome.
And my niece was sobbing. She was trying to ask questions. Immediately her emotions, like she's like me, like we're very emotional watchers. And so I was like, this is wonderful. We have to watch it immediately. So she was crying the whole way. So was I when I watched it on Thursday. Like there was so much in it about life lessons and overcoming and his strength and courage, tenacity, all of the adjectives is Marcel. Like you really kind of come away, I think if you go in with an open heart, kind of feeling better that you are more perseverant as well. It's like you are capable and stronger than you think you are. I thought it was wonderful. I love it.
Awesome. What about you, La? What did you think of Marcel the Shell?
I thought it was quite cute. I didn't know it was like YouTube Shorts. When I looked into it, I was like, oh, there were YouTube Shorts about this. I didn't know that. And I didn't know that him and that the director Jenny Slate were actually married while they were doing those shorts. Yeah, they were married and they divorced in 2016. So I think they divorced before this came out. So like they're still cool enough to like turn this into like a film, you know.
He even talks about his not with his wife anymore.
Yeah, he talks about like them being like separated in the thing. So I think that was like a real type of
therapeutic.
Yeah, you know, yeah. So I thought it was quite humorous at times. I didn't expect it to actually be funny. Not to say that I don't think, you know, it could be funny, but you just see Marcel the Shell, you know, with shoes on, you don't think like, and it's A24, I'm not quite getting the funny, you know what I mean? I'm assuming it's gonna be heavy, which it was heavy. It had like Ray said, it had like great lessons.
Right. You're gonna think Marcel's like a heroin addict or something. Like that's the direction A24 would usually take it.
You know what I mean? It would be like a Shell that got high looking for his family or something. You know what I mean? Like,
but he's like in the alleyway, like having the
you know what I mean? And I just thought it was stop motion to me is always amazing because I know it takes like 1,000 years to achieve, because they possibly could have been making this when they were together and by the time they finished they weren't. But like I just thought it was like I'm always like at awe of animation and like stop motion
Mhm.
animation with like the blend of like real stuff with
Mhm.
the animation.
It was
Um,
seamless.
I, yeah, I loved like how they utilize like things that we don't really pay attention to as like people that can see above
Yes.
sea level at a you know, just for terms, you know, we can see above, but like how would we live if we like lived on the carpet, if we
Yeah.
lived,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
like the silver part of a pencil being like the backpack. I was like, what are we? I was like, how stupidly cute is this for this thing to have? Like, and it's just, it was kind of like watching a child grow up, just a
Mhm.
shell of a child grow up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't get emotional, which was shocking to me because the grandmother died. Spoiler alert. And y'all know how I feel about like grandmothers and, you know, grandkids and stuff like that. It always hits me. Maybe it's because Marcel's a boy, so I was kind of like, oh, okay.
Mm.
But if Marcel was a girl, I'd probably be like, grandma, like I probably been weeping.
Hilarious.
But I
That's
thought it
fair.
was super cute. I thought it was a lot of fun. I felt like it was refreshing in the sense of you had this human be like, yeah, these are normal things, and then Marcel would just be like, well, that's weird. Like, why would people want that? Like, why would you want
Right.
to like? And it just kind of like made me think, like, damn, why do we want this stupid stuff? Like, why do we care about the internet? Why do we care about all these people? Like these, like the remark Marcel made about, oh, these people don't like something like the people don't care. They're just there.
Mhm.
Like,
Mm,
I was like, yo, that's social media like wrapped up in one.
No,
Like,
he
yeah,
They're
he
not a
yeah.
said this
community.
is
yeah,
more
they're
an
not a
audience
community.
Right.
than a community. And I was
Right.
Yeah,
like,
she was like, they're more of a, yeah, he's like more of an audience to the
It
community. And I
hurts.
was like,
It hurts when you think about it because you do think
if
about the
that's
people
not
you
how we
have,
should
right?
look at social media, period. But
Right.
I thought it was super cute though. I was like, didn't expect myself to enjoy it, and I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally. Justin, what did you think of
Uh,
Marcel?
I loved it when I saw it back in February earlier this year, and like to kind of like the way I look at it is that like it reminds me of those like old stop motion animated movies when I was a kid. Anybody remember like the Ralph movies where it's like a little mouse on a motorcycle?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it kind of reminded me like I guess the way to say it is like an elevated version of one of those movies
Mm.
where it takes that kind of handcrafted animation but adds like a lot of like emotion that like say maybe a 40-year-old guy understands a little better. And I think it's a beautiful movie. I really do. And Jenny's voice acting is incredible as
Yeah,
Marcel the
she was
Shell,
fantastic.
and I generally do think that like yeah no the movie, like Law was saying, like the movie has just so much more to say than just it's cute as hell, it definitely is, but it's got so much it's got so much to say in which I feel like anybody could watch it. I think like
Mhm.
if a kid's emotionally ready, I think they could watch that movie
Yeah.
and enjoy it as much as the adult who's showing it to them. Actually, when I saw it, the screening was at it was a kind of a cool situation. It was an all ages free screening of Marcel
Oh,
the Shell
wow.
at
Interesting.
the Alamo Draft House in Los Angeles, and I grabbed the ticket as soon as I could. And as I got there, yeah, it was a theater full of parents with their kids and some cinephiles and fans, but they were all watching it, and you can hear the kids get kind of quietly invested and whisper to their parents, is like, "Is he okay?" and etc. And absorb the story, but like get into it. It was very lovely. So, yeah. If I'm bummed I didn't see this in 2022, but if I did, it would have been easily in my top 10, easily.
Nice. Some of the fun things, of course, I don't know if everybody knows Jenny Slate as because she's not a household name yet, but I always remember her as my first experience with her was Parks and Rec, where she
Mhm.
played
Oh,
Mona Lisa Saperstein,
Rough,
and
yeah,
she actually
yeah.
has her own viral audio from
yep.
Parks and Rec with the "Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious." That's Marcel.
Yeah.
Her and the guy that plays her brother on that show are just probably
Oh,
the
Ben
best
Schwartz.
characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just ridiculous. They're the most entitled children on television, I would say. Anyway, I got really invested in this. I didn't do the shorts either until I heard about this movie, and then I went and watched all of them. and then watched the movie, so I was ready to go. They did use some of the shorts from the real shorts in the movie, which is nice. The way that Marcel was created is interesting because it was just her and Dean just at a hotel one night, and she just kind of pieced him together from stuff in a drawer, and then just started doing the voice just for fun. And they were like, "Oh, well, let's take this further."
Light
and that's
bulb.
what started, right?
Yeah.
With all the shorts.
Yeah.
And then the popularity of the shorts did help. I think COVID was kind of in the middle of the two things, so it affected the movie's release and creation. But ultimately, this film I think is wildly important because it does cross that gap for children. It can be a family film, but it is talking about death and complex issues and loss and finding your family. It's something that you don't expect to enjoy on that level, but then you ultimately do. I knew I was going to enjoy it anyway, just because I'm soft at heart. But you guys mentioned the stop motion animation and the live action. From what I heard, this is the first time that it was truly done like they'd go out into the yard and do the live action rather than on stage. And so they had to do it quickly in order to keep the light proper. And so there were some challenges there. And then, of course, they had to come up with all the other critters. Did you guys notice there was a Cheeto that's in Marcel's world?
Yeah. My niece was she's so funny. She like could get behind him being a shell, but not that his I think it was the teacher was a peanut shell. She was like, but he collects peanuts. I'm like, it's niece, it's okay.
All of these critters come out of the junk drawer. Like what's in the junk drawer? Sometimes there's a Cheeto in there. Sometimes there's a peanut. There's definitely a pincushion. Like there's definite things that are in there. And it's funny because there's a junk drawer in the garage, and that's where Grandma's from. If you listen to Marcel, he talks about she
that was
brought in from
hilarious. That's why her accent was different. I cracked up so hard.
It's so good.
No. But the dust reminds her of home because garages are dusty. Like, give us the world building because
no, for real.
Right?
I'm like, I love it. It's so funny too, though, because
she was like,
after we watched it, my brother he has been playing soccer and coaches soccer now, and there's a lot of Europeans obviously who play and commentate soccer, and she was like, he must be from the garage as well. I'm like, that is hilarious.
Wow. Okay. I like it.
I love it.
Here's the thing I love about like this situation, this world of the film is that like it doesn't need a ton of explanation. You know what I mean? Like there's no magical shell answer. It's just Marcel exists. His family exists. The people, the critters, as
it wasn't like a shooting star happening.
Right.
It twinkled down and touched a shell, and this family was born. It was just like they are alive in the world. It's
They've just been hiding till Dean found Marcel, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that. It's like superheroes exist.
Right.
Marcel
and they get treated that way. They don't get treated weird. They're not like, oh, let's cut them open and see what the shell's made out of.
Yeah, that's not the movie. You know, I like to like kind of in a way I had to explain like the episode of my podcast I recorded today. We did Pete's Dragon, right?
Aww.
And Pete's Dragon, you know, the kind of
live
action and the previous.
Oh, okay,
one.
cool.
Yeah, so but the thing about Pete's Dragon that's kind of cool is that it doesn't need to explain where Elliot came from, and I feel like that's something why it's kind of great for a family film is that like you don't need a lot of explanation if the story is this is the story, finding family, dealing with loss. You don't you know, like loss there's not and a magic comet went over the house, and you know you don't need that. What you need is to be invested in everybody and what the story is. That's all. That's the important thing, and it's simpler when you actually don't explain it sometimes, and it's great.
Yeah, because you could just like leave it up. It could be imagination, right? You can like because in Marcel we're still getting hit with like the hard hitting like realities of like life and truth, and like watching Marcel grow up to realize like things are further than your nose, essentially. You know, things are further than what you can see, and so like I like the fact that in this film it just is. It's like Marcel is a shell that lives.
Yeah.
And there's like, and it's real human nature to be like, can I record you? Like, because to me, that's just human nature to be like, I see this thing. I kind of like discovered this like living creature. Can I record you? And it makes sense that people on YouTube or whatever be obsessed with this like little cute thing, because that's what we do as a society. We see a cute baby, a cute puppy, a cute anything, we want to absorb it as much as we can until we're done with it. And then once we're done with it, we just push it to the side like anything else, like any kind of spectacle becomes. But I do love that like Marcel was looking for family, and so was Dean. Dean was looking for family too.
Right, that's a good point. Dean was looking for family.
Dean was looking for family.
She literally just described Ted, like cute little thing that everybody loves, and he's very famous. And then we pick up where he's like kind of a drunk and nobody cares.
Very true. Because honestly, I would love to see Marcel later in life. Because now you found your family. Obviously, we can see that like there are moments where Marcel was like, okay, I need to be by myself, because I was by myself. Like it was quieter, with me and my grandmother for so long. And I get that once everybody kind of comes around, you're like, it's like a sensory overload, and you need to like go separate yourself, take a beat, and then come back. But I would love to see Marcel like 15, 20 years from now. Like I feel like Marcel would have created something to walk around life in or something. Like he's too innovative not to, So
is Marcel so young that he'll eventually look like his dad, who's much more of a green shell? Because right now he looks a lot more like his mother and his grandmother. So I'm just wondering, will he shift to a green shell, or does he stay looking like his mom?
I don't know, but his mother, his grandmother, that's the father's mother, according to the Wikipedia page.
Right.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Right. So it's a possibility that Marcel might stay like that.
Yeah.
Or he might be a blend of the two.
But he won't become a Cheeto. We know that. He's not going to be.
It's
a whole other group of people.
Can I just say my heart was breaking when Nana Connie was doing her best not to die for Marcel.
I was on the floor.
Like I wasn't crying or anything, and it could be because like I'm emotionally repressed right now. Like extremely. But I was like, this is heart breaking. No. Like she's coloring herself, she's like acting like she ate the food. She's just so like to me, that's not even like that's human nature, but it's also obviously shell nature, okay?
Right.
Because she was like, I need you to live, because I'm not going to live any longer. And I'm just kind of like, that's every person that loves you, that's older than you, wants that for you. And it was just displayed so eloquently to me, because it was just very simple things that you can see, and that you could probably go back in your mind and be like, well, damn, my dad or my mom did that for me. My grandparents did that for me. Or what I'm saying? It's hopefully you have somebody in your brain that did something in that type of similar way. And that part just broke me. I was like, oh my God. I was like, you coloring yourself to make yourself look like you have color when you know that you're like dying. And for her to die during 60 minutes, I was like, what is this film? What are you guys doing?
Do the noise, Grandma Connie.
It's so cute. And for 60 minutes to be the thing that they like, it's just so funny to me. 60 minutes.
I love it. So I wrote a couple of quotes down that I just absolutely loved.
Come on, quotes.
We call them hard hairs. That's when they're making rope, but he decides that the best hairs are, of course, pubic hairs, because they're tough.
My niece didn't get it.
Tough.
She was like,
I didn't think she would.
I'm not going to explain it to you. I mean, she's 18, but I'm not going to explain it to you.
If
you don't get it,
it's
over your head right now.
No, right. If you don't get it, it's not meant for you right now. Right. Watch it again in a few years. Maybe you'll pick it up.
Right. Like
he calls his grandma a backhoe. She's like a backhoe, which I thought was such a great term.
Yes. I was like,
I was cracking up. I was like, the things you can let slip in this PG because of the way because of phrasing.
Right.
Love it.
And then this is I think the quote from the movie, just in my opinion. Guess why I smile a lot? Because it's worth it. I just absolutely dug that quote. So it is weird that this was a YouTube sensation and not, well, I don't know. Justin, did you watch any of the YouTubes while it was YouTubing?
What's funny is that like I forgot about them because they were like a decade ago, like only till like I was talking about the film with a friend of mine, and they were like, "Yeah, I remember watching those when like a former coworker of mine," and they're like, "Yeah, I remember watching those at work," and I'm like, "Watching those at work? Yeah, I remember we were watching on the computer," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And I didn't see like all of them, but I remember watching a couple of them, going, "Oh, these are really cute," and like kind of moving on, and that's kind of almost that's almost a testament on internet
Right.
stuff
I
anyway,
mean,
kind
it's
of
what
like
happened to Marcel. I'm just
yeah.
saying.
Yeah, exactly. But I did go back and rewatch them after the film, and I watched as much as I could, and I'm like, I'll say it's kind of great because like the obviously the film is an expansion of those shorts, but um it's not like a shaky cam movie, you know what I mean? Where
Mhm.
it's like no, it's a Dean who plays Dean in the
Mhm.
movie. He's a good filmmaker. So like even though he's making essentially YouTube vlogs, he is
Mhm.
still has a good eye. So, it's good that like it's cool how they can create these beautiful cinematic shots, but it
Mhm.
feels right in the context of the movie as something
Right,
he's
like
doing.
the
Right.
documentary feel.
Right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
His
yeah.
description of documentary was the most hilarious.
And the most
I'm like,
accurate. The
it's
Yeah.
most accurate. I was
completely.
like,
He's like, we don't
that's.
really know what it is, but yeah, it's
I was like,
perfect.
You're
put
just
that in the
hearing people
dictionary.
talking,
That's
right?
literally what a documentary
They do
is. I
it,
was like,
and
that's
then they
perfect.
figure out what it is after they did it. Like, yeah,
That's kind of true.
The line that cuts the core to me is the is the bit where Marcel is like going like, "Hey, do you ever think it's like to paraphrase? Do you ever think of what your life would be like if you're not going around filming and recording everything?" And I'm like,
amazing.
"Shut up,
I felt
Marcel."
called out. I felt called
Yeah,
out.
I felt
No,
called
that
out.
was so good because it was like he was like, have you ever tried to like? Do you think the
They were
reason why
more
you do this
Yeah.
is because you haven't reached out for like humanity or something like that? Marcel said, and I was
Yeah.
like the line you're saying, Justin. I was like,
It was so good. And it was literally just to get him to light the votive candle, but it
no,
was
for real.
also to tell him, you're recording me, but
Mhm.
I haven't seen you interact with any other humans. Like, do
No,
you
like
know other
facts.
people? Like, it
Facts.
was so
And the
good.
thing, I love Marcel. Okay. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna be very honest about this. Jenny Slate to me is an actress that I don't mind. I didn't see her in Parks and Rec because I
Mhm.
tried to watch Parks and Rec and like
Skip to season
I
2.
couldn't.
Let's just put
I
that out there.
couldn't. I can't,
You
Smitty.
got
If I
to.
can't get
There's
through
only
your
like
season
7
one,
episodes in first season. You just put them on in the
And
background.
they're not good, so you
and
just skip it.
skip
Yeah.
to season 2. I'm telling you, there's like a little bit of backstory in season 1. I can tell
I
you what
will.
it is.
I will
It is
try
worth going from
again.
season 2 to the end. It is worth it.
I will
100%.
try again
if
just for
you can
you.
stick it out, it becomes a masterpiece.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
It
what people
starts
keep
out a
telling me.
disheveled mess. And
But I
becomes a
just
masterpiece.
can't push past the first 2. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah. They're trying
They're
to be
terrible.
The Office in the first season. They're trying
Yeah,
really
yeah,
hard to be
yeah.
The
Yeah,
Office,
you have-
and then they
yeah.
found their own
okay,
footing in season
that
2.
makes sense. Because like, let's be honest, The Office was bad in this first season, but
Mhm.
like midway through, you were kind of like episode 4 or 5. You were like, okay, I get what they're doing. Then once you get to it, you're like, okay, so I'm gonna try again with Parks and Rec. But like, Jenny Slate is an actress who like I kind of prefer her as a voice actress.
Mm.
A little bit because,
Yeah.
but also she has a tone to her voice that is not that far from grating. So she has to like, for me personally, she has to like, it has to be a level to her voice because she played Missy on Big Mouth on Netflix,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
Right.
and it was like, oh guys, it was like one of those type of voices, and I was just kind of like, yeah, but it was okay because she was like toning it down. But Marcel was kind of like that perfect kind of like kind of breathy
Mhm.
type of, and I was like, okay, I'm cool with this. So like, that being said, Jenny Slate played the sassiest Shell I think I've ever or will ever encounter in cinema.
Well, we've
'Cause
seen
the
at least 40 other
sassiness,
films about shells, like, and so this one really kind of sets the mark.
I'm saying
I'm sorry.
heavily,
That was
you know what I
terrible.
mean? Like Marcel was just sassy to me. Like anytime, and it just shows the intelligence of Marcel, because Marcel just like how we were just talking about that one scene. It was like, okay, well, I'm going to make you feel bad so you can light this candle because I need it lit.
Right.
And I love the cuts of like hard hitting, and then it cut back to like the candle being lit, and then Marcel just being like,
Right.
"Thank
Good
you," and then
time.
going back to like doing what I was doing. Like,
Now, what
we
about
could
him
have
throwing
avoided
up in the
this.
car? I felt that was like some of the most endearing
So
simple,
hilarious.
just.
I never thought throw up could be cute. I really didn't until this, because it was so tiny.
It was this big. It was so little.
Yeah.
It was so tiny. And also, I'm surprised that Marcel doesn't just throw up a lot, because they don't. I mean, they eat kind of decent, but they also eat kind of weird at the same time. So
Well, how does he roll
it's
around in
like
that ball, but he can't sit on the shelf of a car or on the dashboard of a car? Like, I don't know.
Is it the
those are two
view?
different motions, though. I still
Yeah.
get car
That's
sick.
fair.
If I'm driving, I'm fine. But if I'm a passenger, I won't throw up, but I'll get car sick.
Going the way back.
Yeah, when I was a kid, though, when I was a kid, they had to roll down the windows for me. It didn't matter the temperature, because I would get sick in the backseat. I would get hazy. I would pass out. I would have to go to sleep until we got to our destination.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Now here's a thought. Marcel the Shell with boots on. The sequel. Would of course entail him, fighting him like a hermit crab for himself. Like he'd have to fight off a. No,
I want to see that.
I'm thinking
Ray didn't like that.
Clash of the Titans meets Marcel the Shell.
Ray didn't like that.
Okay, no. Okay.
I would like to see Marcel make more human friends. I feel like Marcel makes humans a little bit better than they started out. Because Dean went from being kind of like a jaded, separated / divorcee to being like, I got my lease, I got like my house, you're welcome anytime. Like, who just welcomes a shell into their house? So this is your family now.
Yeah.
So I would like to see Marcel like meet like maybe kids or something to like help kids, or maybe Marcel gets a job as a school counselor or like something. I don't know, something like kindergarten or something.
I think pet groomer.
I didn't hear it. Like I didn't hear what
I
you
said pet groomer because of the way he likes, deals with the dog. I think that'd be
honestly, that might be the funniest encounter to me. It was like, I can smell his face. You literally can smell the face of a dog, like literally. He was like, that's a rich aroma. I was like, the wording in this movie is like very funny to me. Rich aroma. That's great.
So good.
Okay. So we do have another film that we want to discuss. So I think that we should rate this film and move to the next one.
Oh, the film that broke me twice? Yeah.
So why don't we start with our guest? Rate this 1 to 10. Of course, we discussed it as your scale. So you decide what a 10 and what a 1 are. And you can tell us why, or just give it a number. It's up to you how much in depth you do with this.
Okay. I'm going to go really easy and simple. And it's like 1 being the worst, 10 being the highest, and 10 being perfect and great. So 9, pretty high up there for me. I'm a generous scorer, though. I want people to know that. If you look at my letterbox, I give movies 3.5 stars, and people are like, "Really? I like it that much?"
That same problem. I feel bad by scoring it too low.
Yeah,
nope.
Same.
I don't.
Not me. Come on, Ray.
Unless it's just like if it's X-Men
Last
Last
Stand,
it gets a 1. Like that's just the rules.
Yeah.
Like
That's a 1. Yeah.
If I didn't, and I'm a rewatcher. Like, if I didn't at least enjoy it enough to watch it again, why would I rate it higher than a 5?
Come on.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. I watched it. I didn't hate it. It's basically a 5.
But there are 10s that are 1 times.
I mean, I agree for sure.
I will bring up one.
I would say Schindler's List is a 10.
That's fair.
The only time I've ever seen that, and honestly, I watched it with my mom, and I was probably like 8 years old. Like, my mom had to watch it to make sure it was okay for my brother to watch it, and so she was like, "You can watch it with me." First of all, she had to scrape me up off the floor with a spatula. You hear me? I could never watch.
I think I missed the movie. What movie?
Schindler's List.
Oh shit! Yeah,
that's
a
fair.
one-time view.
Oh yeah, you definitely missed the movie.
Yeah,
couldn't possibly do it again.
It's a difficult one, no doubt.
I've never seen that movie before.
Crap! Did we put it on the show?
I would say
I will not be on that episode. I promise you that I can't do it again.
I
would say watch it again, La, but I will tell you, you will only watch it once.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I will. Most films back in the day, I only watched like once in it.
I think the movie's amazing and it's very important, but also I never have a night that went, you know what I'm feeling tonight?
Not at all.
Let's watch that Spielberg classic.
Yo, you mean Jurassic Park? No. E.T.? No.
Come
no one
purpose.
says it's a
Yeah, I
Schindler's
could watch
List.
all of his other films multiple times, and it's not that the
Yeah.
movie isn't important or good or any of that.
It's all of that. It is important and good. It's just it's
I would
just
say
too much hard.
Requiem for a Dream is a movie I think everybody should watch, but that's a one-off.
Once.
Like that's a
That's
one-off.
what I was
in
gonna say.
college. I'm okay. Yeah.
Requiem for a Dream. I was just gonna say because I was gonna hold that off until the next conversation, but that's a definite. It's a 10 out of 10. I watch it once every 20 years.
Never seen
Very
it.
difficult. And it's
Virgin Suicides, I would also put in that
that's
category.
another one.
That was
That's another one. Yeah.
devastating. I think I was
What
maybe
movie
in
was
like
that?
That's
junior
the
high.
one.
Virgin Suicides.
Virgin
I
Suicides.
just have never felt a movie
Yeah.
that felt like despair before. Like it was like
It's brutal. It's brutal. All right, Ray, Marcel the Shell, 1 to 10. What do you think?
I would also give it a 9. Yeah, 9.5 maybe. I thought it was phenomenal.
That's a solid rating. How about you, La?
I gave it an 8.5. It didn't get me emotional, so I can't really give it that 0.5 to be. But with how beautiful it is, funny, endearing, and just shot for shot because it's stop animation. Like it's an 8.5 for sure. I couldn't go no lower than I couldn't be like 7 or 8. Like I couldn't do that. But because emotionally I wasn't like I couldn't give it a 9. So it's an 8 for sure. But it's still a great film.
All right.
So,
For myself, this is going to be an easy one. This is a 10 out of 10.
I
out
knew
of 10,
he was
out
going to
of
say
10.
10. I
Niagara
knew it.
Falls. This
For
movie
sure.
hit me in literally all the exact right places.
Yeah.
So, as everybody knows, I lost my dad 5 years ago, and I don't know how, but this movie relates to my father. I don't know how to explain that to people, but it kept making me think about him. Maybe it's because the life lessons he tried to teach me fit right here with these. I don't know. But the sweetness, for me, sweetness can take emotional up another level. So like the cuteness and the sweetness takes the emotion to the epic level. And I just bawled and like, this was true for both of these movies. When I turned this movie off, I cried for a little while. When I turned The Whale off, I cried for about 30 minutes because I couldn't stop. So, and we'll of course get to that. So yeah, 10 out of 10 sounds like the Real Study rates this film very high. And Justin, your rating will go in with ours. Go ahead, please. Ray.
The ending monologue before the credits. First of all, my niece she was just like, he's gonna go in there and he's gonna find his grandma. No, he's not. He's not. Okay.
Oh, babe.
It was just like he's going in. She's not hiding. She did like she couldn't handle it, but his monologue was so perfect. When he is sitting on the windowsill, he said it felt just like her to lead me to a place where I would experience something new and special. When he's talking about the wind help making his shell whistle, it connected me. I felt like to everything, because if I wasn't there, the sound wouldn't exist. And it felt like everything was in pieces, and then I stood there and suddenly we were all one large instrument. I like to go there a lot because it reminds me that I'm not just one separate piece rattling around in this place, but that I'm part of a whole. And I truly enjoy the sound of myself connected to everything.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Solid.
Yeah. That's a monologue right there. Fact.
Right.
Next
Even
time I
just hearing
audition,
you read it, I'm sitting here getting goosebumps. So
next
So
time I
good.
audition, Ray, it's gonna be that. It's gonna be that
That's a
little
good one.
monologue
It's
from
such
Marcel the
a
Shell.
beautiful
That's a good one.
description of community when you understand how the synergy of your community gives each person purpose inside and outside of the community. It's just how did you write that? Like it's so good.
And I feel like it's not just purpose; it's also just like strength, right?
Yes.
Like when you can have those people that you can like lean on and bend to, you know what I mean? It helps you push forward. Like without Nana, Marcel wouldn't have found his family.
100%.
Now I'm pretty sure he wanted Nana to be there too, but that's not how life works most of the time.
Right.
But most of the time, there's people that push you up to help you get to where you need to get to. And for Marcel, I don't know how old Marcel is. For me, Marcel is 8. I don't know.
No, that seems right. 8, 9.
Yeah.
I can feel that.
Marcel could be 150 with being a shell. Like, let's be honest.
But he
Like,
has
you don't
the
know, Marcel.
8-year-old mentality. You know, if he lives to 1,000, if he's 100.
Right. You know what I mean? So I
10,
feel like he's like 8. I feel like he's very young, very impressionable, could still learn, very intelligent. But like to realize that like like you aren't singular,
Mm-hmm.
you're plural, is a lesson that I don't think a lot of people have ever, like a lot of people don't figure out before they pass away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love that.
I
So
like it. I like it.
yeah.
Yes.
We are now going to move on to the movie The Whale. This is Darren Aronofsky,
Lord.
and
Yeah.
this is
Mhm.
Academy Award-winning film. This is, of course,
Mhm.
Brendan Fraser is one of the Real Studies kind of go-to actors. He's kind of our favorite actor as a panel right now. We may have others, but he definitely is in the top.
He ranks.
This
Yes,
is the
he
third
ranks.
time we've done Brendan Fraser films. That's a lot, considering we have not done that many movies. I think it's like 170 films we've reviewed. It hasn't been that many. So, yeah, you can go out to our letterbox. Real Study has a letterbox. You can follow Real Study on letterbox. We never did do the socials, but we could do that at the end.
I disappeared. That's why. But we could do that.
Yes.
So, Brendan Fraser plays a teacher, an online teacher who is, they would just label this morbidly obese. And he is struggling in his last days. Let's put it that way. That'd be the best way to put it. And it is a reality of life and humanism and relationships just thrown right in your face. If you guys don't know Darren Aronofsky, he is, of course, we already mentioned Requiem for a Dream. He did many other films. Yeah, and his films are always kind of odd, like off,
dark and
just,
odd,
just
and
different. Noah was another one where he took Noah's Ark and just did a whole nother thing with it.
A lot of emotion. Yeah.
This is his most real film, besides maybe Requiem. To me, this is just, it's just people. There's no extra in this, which is something he normally adds, a little bit of mystery, a little bit of weirdness. So let's go ahead and had anybody seen The Whale before needing to watch it for this show?
Yeah.
You had? Okay. I had not either. Since we have our guest, why don't we ask Justin, what did you think of The Whale?
I'm kind of glad that this was the movie, because I've been meaning to watch it. And this also passed me in 2022. Both these movies. But this one was, I said, yeah, it'll give me an excuse to finally get around to watching it. The other film I was thinking of, that we were talking about, where it's just a Darren Aronofsky movie, where it's kind of grounded and more real, was The Wrestler. I feel like this is actually a companion piece to The Wrestler to a certain degree, because it's about another man who pushed himself too far into his world and deals with his relationship with his estranged daughter. And both end in a very similar kind of tragedy, but also uplifting for the main character in a sort of interesting way. And it took a while, I'm not gonna lie, because as much as I wanted to see it, and as much as I was really happy for Brendan Fraser getting all the flowers that he got, I was really hesitant to, like, am I emotionally ready for this movie? And I was really glad I finally got around to it. It's not, don't get me wrong, it's a heavy film, but I was surprised at how much more I was able to sit through it than I initially was worried.
I think that was an accidental pun, by the way.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh no, I didn't mean that. No.
I know you didn't. That's just my brain. Don't worry. It made me chuckle. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
oh no.
Yeah, no.
But emotionally heavy. But I will say that, like, it's a film that, like, I'm still struggling my full emotions and my full thoughts on it. There are times where I think it's incredibly powerful, and Fraser throughout is incredible in it. Like, he deserves that Oscar 100%. But there are times where I can feel the film being based on a play,
Okay, yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it needs to be cinematic by big sweeping shots of things, but since the film is so enclosed, including with its 4:3 format, that which I know the whole point of that was to be very intimate with everybody, but there are times where I did feel like this is definitely a movie based off of a play. And but yet I'm still drawn to the performances and the characters. I love Hong Chow as well. Huge Hong Chow fan. She's great in this, but Yeah, Fraser is absolutely the main reason to watch this movie. I out of curiosity, I went and watched clips of other people doing the stage play because I wanted to see what the stage play looked like. And there's some good actors who did the role pretty well, but I felt like Brendan brought the right level of somebody you can feel there's an intelligence, but the sadness felt real. His struggles felt real. You feel the empathy for him because of whatever element that Brendan Fraser has. It's there, but you can see the defeat that he's had in his life. It's a great, just encompassing performance that isn't just because and they put all this prosthetic on him to do that as well. It helps with the creation of the character, but also I think his own delivery just helped me get all the facets of Charlie. And it's a movie that I feel like it's absolutely worth it for him alone at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I like it. La, what did you think of The Whale?
This film broke me into entire pieces that are still scattered on my bed somewhere. Yeah. I've seen it previously because it was one of those films where I was like, I need to see this because I love me some Brendan Fraser. But because I knew the premise, I was like, I'm not ready for that as a plus size woman and technically morbidly obese. If I go to the doctor myself, I'm not 600 pounds, but technically,
Well, they have a threshold,
I
and
was
then
like,
everybody above it is considered that. So, like,
no, for sure, it's that's what doctors do. That's their favorite thing to say. You're fat. That's why your back hurt. It's like, okay, it could be, but all right. But this film, I was kind of apprehensive because of that, my own insecurities and things like that. But I pushed past it, and the first time I watched it, the tears were ever flowing. Okay, probably from the moment it started, I was just like, oh, okay, this is where we're at. I'm just like wiping my face immediately.
That's terrible. I'm sorry.
This go around, I really didn't feel like watching the whole movie, so I watched a reactor react to it.
Wow.
Because I've already seen it, so it's in my brain. I just needed I just needed like the pictures to come back up again. And reaction videos are some of my favorite ways of reliving a film in a sense. So like, I watched a reactor, and I watched a reactor specifically who I knew is as emotional as me when it comes to like movies and stuff. So it worked on par. This film, honestly, for me, I know they're like people automatically assume that Brendan Fraser is the whale, but I think all 5 people in this are the whale.
I think
because
The
if
Whale
you
is
think about it,
the story.
Because for me, if you think about it, all 5 of these characters that we see are all grieving in their own way, and they're all dealing with their own grief. So I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, the next person next to you can be just as sad as you are. You just don't know it, type of thing. And I found that very, very interesting. I found it interesting that even throughout everything, all these people take away the Bible thumper. No offense to him or anything like that, but everybody loved this man. Like they just had their own ways of showing it. Like, they all loved him. Like, and I thought that was great. And they were all grieving the loss of him before he left.
For sure.
In their own different ways. And he was even grieving the loss of himself and the loss of Alan as well. Like, I just thought it was beautiful. I thought it was just a great story about like not only love, but finding that love and then losing it, and then but also like being so deep in that love that like nothing else kind of exists. Yeah. And then when you lose that love, it's like, now I have to try to figure out the things that I lost. And sometimes you can't get that stuff back, which
100%.
This film kind of shows that even though his daughter at the end is like, go to the hospital, like, you got to get better. Like, if you can see that motion, it was too late at that end. Like, both parties waited too late. And I never like to put the kid in a situation where like the kid is responsible for what the parent did. But I feel like her parents had their own grief and their own anger to the point where like she got caught up in it. Mm-hmm. And all she could do was express herself in dickwaddish ways, which she did. because she don't get like a pat on the back for that neither. Yeah, she helped this boy, but like she was quite disrespectful as a child. Like
Right.
like very, very disrespectful. But I mean overall this every person was cast perfectly for what they had to do for this role. Brendan Fraser being the top, this role was meant for him. This role was this play was created for him, whether he knew it or not, whether they knew it or not. This was created for him, and everybody else, like Hong Chow, man, like I was like, yo, like the acting from her face alone is a masterclass. Like and then Sadie Sink, I know she's new to this kind of essentially, but the emotion she can let through just by looking at you, kind of like turning her face in a certain way, and like
she's a
because
Stranger Things
saying for me,
darling,
it ain't the
to
words.
me, I was like, this is Sadie Sink continuing. Like she's on Stranger Things, so
I cannot hear you. Maybe it's my phone. I feel like you whispering.
Is it me?
Snitty.
Am I whispering?
No, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I hear you very, very low, but I was just
wow, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just saying Sadie Sink is on Stranger Things, so I already adore her and think she's amazing.
Oh yeah, I've never seen it, so
right. I knew that when you were saying that. So
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, but I just thought she did a great job. Samantha Morton is great in anything that she does.
Yeah.
Like you can give her 2 lines, you're like, oh my god, like she just sucker punched me in the chest. Like she's
a little piece at the end. Like she's not in much of this movie.
Yeah, like she's not even in it, but you still feel like she's placed correctly in the story.
Yeah,
like she makes sense when she shows up. You know, a lot of times they'll put a character in, and you like this person doesn't make sense. She makes sense. And Ty Simpkins, no offense to him, he did a really good job.
I didn't recognize him until something was familiar about his face.
Yeah.
And then I looked him up and I was like, oh my god, he's all grown up. Did this movie come out that long ago? Like,
yeah. He's the kid from Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't realize
Yeah. I didn't realize
his eyes looked so familiar. Like he's
and not even that, he's in the Insidious series, right? Like he's the little kid, and like and side note, and I'll let everybody else talk about the well and everything. But side note, I thought it was really cool that for the Insidious series, they let him grow up. Yeah. They didn't want to recast his character. So they film whatever they filmed, and they let him grow up for the next movies. I was
that's rare.
I was like, really, that's really extremely rare if it ever happens. So I thought that was great.
Reminds me of Boyhood that Linklater did, where he had the kid grow up over 12 years and filmed it that way. So,
but I mean, that was like, specific for that. I just mean like they could have easily been like, we need somebody that looks like him.
Right.
This older, right. And I just think it's cool if they like.
You mean like they did in the Chucky series, where like, we'll get rid of the main kid and then bring him back later.
Listen, I was disrespected. That they got rid of Andy, and then I guess they brought him back for the TV series.
There's really only 2 Andys. So there's the Andy from the first 2 movies, which is the same kid. Then they replaced him for 3, and then when Andy does come back, it is the same actor from the original film.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, because Andy comes back in the TV show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in some of the final films
when they got rid of Andy.
When you get to Cult of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, it actually it rewraps all the way back around. So. That's one of the most unique series, whether it be horror or not, to exist, because all of them have been done by the same people all the way through, which is bizarre. Like
I was really into them, and it's like I got to seed, and then it's not because I didn't want to see the ones after that. I just fell behind, and then all of a sudden now I'm like 2 movies behind, 2 seasons of a TV show behind, and I'm like there's like so much Chucky content now that it's like feeling like, oh no, is this what a person who's behind the MCU feels like?
Yes.
You know?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Ray, what did you think of The Whale?
Is it because we're both black and we wear glasses?
Why are you like this?
No. Oh, you know what? I'm doing wrong here. I know what I'm doing wrong. This is I should have done this from the beginning.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Club. Let's go.
We all are wearing glasses. This is the first time the show has had. How many eyes is this?
16.
8.
16.
8 to 18. Yeah. Is it 16? Yeah. Beautiful.
16. Yeah.
Wait. So I have 4.
I actually had no idea what this movie was about, or that it was a play first. I will say I do want to make this. I want to make this statement. I know people had an issue with the fat suit, and for people that's a problem for, it was going to be an issue no matter what. For me, I don't care.
Come
A
on.
prop is a prop, whether it's a chair or a suit, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Because the only purpose of the prop is to enhance or to engage the viewer, to help them put in a frame of mind. I just don't think that in our current industry, that the industry would allow another actor as competent in their craft with the ability to do this role that is 600 pounds.
Yeah.
We know how the actress from This Is Us was treated for
Mhm.
being cast because she was fat.
Yep.
So if there was another actor capable of performing this character, he would have been ridiculed
Yeah.
out of the industry long before he had the chops to be able to do this.
Mhm.
I'll say that.
Yeah. very good.
Back to Brendan's performance. I think he was fantastic, but I've always liked his performances. I think he's engaged. It doesn't ever feel like he's throwing it away, even if it's a comedic performance, or in this where he just, in his career that I've seen a lot of his movies, he hasn't fully gone dramatic other than maybe
No.
Miss Winterborn. Like he
Mhm.
doesn't really go
And
that
that was still comedic in a way.
correct.
So yeah, so you're right.
So he was exercising, putting
Mhm.
on a clinic because I was fully engaged. I believed him in every scene. And like he had such an empathy. It wasn't one of those performances where you have a character that he was devastated by his loss, and his fatness was a symptom of his devastation and grief. You didn't see him um being a victim of his own circumstances as much as he was a victim of his grief. Does that make sense what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So he still had his muchness, you know what I mean? How he believed in his daughter, how he didn't want to burden anyone.
His belief
He
in his
still
students and
Yes.
stuff like
right.
that. Yeah.
He was so caring,
Mhm.
and still gave so much. He just could not overcome the the fact that the weight he put on because of that grief was killing him.
Yeah.
He was wearing his death. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I thought all of the actresses were fantastic. I still haven't seen Everything Everywhere. I know we've talked about adding that to the list. So I've never seen this girl actor. At least I don't think I have, but she was spectacular. Um
She's not
and
in that, but yeah.
no. Oh, no. The girl from the Asian girl, isn't she the one that was in Everything?
No.
What was she
No.
in?
Oh,
I
you want me
remember
to? I can think of one thing that.
I
No,
thought
no,
it
no,
was the same girl.
no, 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 no.
No.
That's
That's
the Stephanie
Stephanie.
Shu.
That's Stephanie Shu.
She's
Yeah.
in the
Oh.
menu.
Yes, she's in the menu.
Oh, okay. Okay. I apologize I thought someone said that they were the same character or the same
Okay,
actress.
that's okay.
She was really, well done, and you could feel that her anger, and when we later in the movie find out that it was her brother and that's why she's
Mhm.
caring for him, like I
Yeah.
mean basically that's her brother-in-law. That the pain of losing her brother and having to care for his spouse, I don't know if they were married, I don't think it really matters. That she was doing that out of love so he wouldn't be alone, and they were kind of in this grief cycle together.
Yeah.
They were both loving and grieving the same person. Was really a beautiful dynamic to see how unfortunately grief can bind you, but it can also trap you.
Yeah.
Like, not that they would have been better apart, but I don't think that they were better together.
Yeah.
Like they were in that cycle where the loss of him was this looming presence that they couldn't overcome.
Well,
Mhm.
his weight was both of their burdens.
Correct. Exactly. He was not small before, but because he had gotten so big that it was the grief of both of them
Mhm.
existing on his body.
Mhm.
His ex-wife, I loved that you could tell because my cousin is gay and he was married to a man who was married to a woman and had 2 children. Like, this is not an uncommon thing.
No, facts, yeah.
So the fact that she's
My
like,
uncle.
we clearly couldn't be married anymore because you're gay, but I still love you for the person I fell in love with, right? And that she wanted to listen to his breathing. Like, I think because, like I said, he hadn't been smaller, that she was used to the sound of his breathing, and it was a comfort for her to
Yeah.
hear his heart beating, hear his breathing. And he just held her, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like a "you're fat and I can't touch you" kind of thing.
No.
Right.
Like,
She
that
wasn't
I
even
feel
was
like
grossed out
that
by
was
his
her. I
eating
feel
at
like that
all.
was her spot.
exactly.
I feel like that was her spot. Whenever they
Yes,
were at home, if they were watching TV, like that was her spot. And by
Mhm.
him leaving, she no longer had that spot. And
absolutely.
just because you left me for somebody else doesn't mean that I no longer love you or
Right.
loved who we were or loved what we
Mhm.
had. So yeah, you could feel the grief on her. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was spilling out.
Yeah. I think Sadie was fantastic. We kind of talked about that last week when we weren't streaming. And I have nothing to say about the evangelical. Nothing.
All right, fair.
All right. Fair.
Um,
All right.
The scene that kind of gut punched me from this movie was his need to fulfill his addiction in the refrigerator. I was so invested in the hope that maybe he would change that when he started just layering ham on top of 3 slices of pizza and then putting I don't know, I think mayonnaise directly on it and then folding that up and then globs of grape. I kept screaming at the TV, "Stop, dude, stop, stop. I need you." Like I needed him to stop. And he wouldn't. I knew he wouldn't. And of course, I knew how this was going to play out. Like it was, I think it was obvious from the moment we see past the screen from the students where this movie is going. Like there's no question. And I that scene really stuck out to me. But the title, The Whale, I want to come back to that because I think The Whale as a title is meant to make us double check our own biases. Because the movie The Whale, you see this fat guy and you're like, oh, the movie's about this fat guy. And then you get into it and he's talking about Moby Dick. You're like, oh shit, this movie's not about the fat guy. Okay. There's depth here. There's more to it than just weight. Which is what the cover and the title insinuate. And so Darren Aronofsky, I think, is making us stop and go, well, wait a minute. What does the whale really mean? And instead of just focusing on his weight, it makes us think about many other things in the film. So I think it's a weirdly simple but clever approach to showing us what a film is about before we ever see it. Where he wanted us to judge the book by its cover, if you will.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is not something they usually want you to do. But in this case, I think he played us for good reason. The relationships in this movie are too real in so many ways because nothing's perfect. Everything leaves with something, with a little hurt on it or a little, bad taste on it, if you will. And I can see both sides because I was a, troubled teenager whose parents never got along. My parents were divorced when I was 8 and I just acted the hell out until I was 20 over it. They'll never get to hear me admit that because they're not going to hear this, but it's true. Mom and Dad, you guys screwed me up. It's okay. Everybody's parents screws their kids up.
Sometimes.
That's the life of being a parent. But then being a parent now on the other side of it, I'm just sitting here being able to see this from both sides, and it's difficult because what do you do? He did leave. He did abandon his family for puppy love, if you will. And it might not have been puppy love to him because obviously it wasn't, but from their perspective, it's like, well, he's just one of your students. You just decided you wanted to get some tail even at some point. And it would be depressing. Everybody in this movie is depressed, which makes this movie depressing, and it just makes you cry.
Yeah.
I did want to note that we did watch the Train to Busan 3 weeks ago, and the similarities to the ending of Train to Busan and The Whale are ridiculous. They end almost identically. So if you haven't seen The Whale or Train to Busan, here comes some spoilers. But this
I don't quite see that, but please.
So if I may. So the very last scene of both movies are a father thinking of his happiest moment with his daughter and then dying.
Wow.
So,
okay, I see it.
that's where I found the similarities. Now, other than that,
Emotional. I'll say emotionally it's the
alike,
same. But to say that
I
they're
felt
exactly the
like
same is to say
I
that they're
felt the
exactly
same
the same. But I get
feelings
what you're
from
saying.
both. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Wow, that's
you
I
guys
don't
can go
think.
ahead. My headset died for some reason.
Oh, okay. I don't think anyone. I think it's the first time I've ever heard anyone compare those two films ever, and that's a really good. It's a really good way of looking at it. Yeah, very true. So if you like The Whale, go watch Train to Busan. But
If you need something lighter after you watch The Whale, go watch The Train to Busan.
yeah, if you need a like an uplifting, like pick me
Yeah,
up.
for sure.
I mean, it's not a pick me up, but it's at least more exciting and like.
That's
it's,
true. Your heart's racing. You know?
And it's not like I didn't cry during Train to Busan, and it wasn't gut.
No.
Well, it was gut wrenching, but for
I
them,
did.
not
I
for me.
bawled at the end. The
Did
end
you?
caught me.
Okay.
Oh my God. It was Tear City. It was
You
Tear
guys
Nation.
missed my
Okay.
guts pun. That's terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said it was gut wrenching for them. Anyway, yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
but
yeah, anyway.
oh, so just a little fun fact about The Whale. At one point in time, they were considering the character Charlie to be played by James Corden.
Impossible.
No.
You mean that
Under no
vapid,
circumstances.
self-informed,
Was he going to sing?
talk show
I mean, what are we
douchebag?
doing?
That guy?
What are we doing? Okay.
No, I'm good. No,
I don't know if you
that's,
guys know how I feel about James Corden, but
I think you don't like him, and
I think you don't like
and I think for good reason.
Nailed it.
I
Nailed
like
it,
it.
Justin. Nailed it.
I would love to talk about the fat suit a little bit more because that is such a heated topic these days.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys
It was
follow.
a 300-pound. It was a 300-pound prosthetic
Right.
fat suit.
The dude was literally wearing me for this role.
wow.
Wow.
Like that's a lot of weight to put on just to do a role. Now
Yeah.
I know there are people who are like, if you can't make a film about a character that's fat without just using the fat person, I'm like, but there's
Yes, you can.
storytelling takes time over a period of time. And if somebody
Absolutely.
started out skinny and becomes fat, you're telling me we can't make that story because you don't like fat suits? Like, come on. Like, come on. I'm a fat person. I get to weigh in on this. Oh, there's that pun.
Okay.
Yep.
Ty would be so proud of you.
He
That's
really
all
would.
I'm
I've been
saying.
doing good tonight. I've been holding up on the pun.
You have. You've been
so-
knocking it out of the park.
But I just, if I don't know, I understand that the idea of casting people for people who exist, especially when it comes to race or even when it comes to
Mhm.
sexuality, those
Sure.
are important considering the underrepresentation. Now, are fat people underrepresented in Hollywood? Yes, but they're
Yes.
underrepresented in the entirety of the world because
Fact.
you won't find a lot of fat people even in. You'll find a few in government, but they're usually because they've been there a long time and got fat, not because
Right.
they started
Right.
fat, right? So like,
True.
fat people are discriminated against across the board, and like to Ray's point, you would never even make it far enough into Hollywood to show your chops in order to get this role.
Yep.
Not unless Darren Aronofsky was like, we're going to open a huge, we're just going to open this up and just let everybody audition for this, which would be so time consuming, so costly for such a small budget film that it's unrealistic. Should we not tell stories because there are people that are going to wear fat suits? No, the stories are more important in this case because we need to hear these stories. This story is important, I think. I think everybody should watch
I'm
this story.
sorry though, but all this controversy about that, we acting, and this is no offense, I love me some Brendan Fraser, but we acting like he's like the mummy Brendan Fraser, and he put on a 300-pound
Right.
And
prosthetic.
he gained weight for this before they decided to do the suit.
Yeah.
I saw a couple interviews and he's like, I worked for almost a year to gain weight. And I think he said he had gained 75 pounds and they were like, that's not enough. So then they decided to do the suit. He was going to gain the weight. And I'm like, first of all, you can't all be Christian Bale. It's not healthy.
Right.
Your
It's
body
not at all.
shouldn't be
And
done.
and honestly, we all shouldn't be, because if that's the case, then that's the case, then Chris Evans, why didn't you get skinny to be Cap instead of them CGIing your body with somebody else's body? Like, that wasn't a problem for anybody.
No.
But my thing is, as a person who is a plus size person as well, like, I didn't see this as making fun of
Not at all.
me or anybody that's of a bigger weight. I literally saw this because honestly, it's the reverse of what happened to Alan in the film, right?
Exactly.
Alan went the opposite way with his grief, with his sadness, with his family cut him off. He lost weight.
Right.
Yeah.
He went the opposite, whereas Charlie gained weight
Right.
because he was
Which could
already
be-
a certain size
It could be
already.
your body type. Yeah, that's a huge factor. Who you are already,
Sure.
your propensity to whether you overeat or undereat is a huge factor.
Mhm.
Both are the same disease. They're both eating disorders.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they aren't treated that way. And I heard a perfect example of alcoholism, and I think this applies to Charlie with this film, or overeaters in general. Alcoholics can be blamed for the first drink that they drink because they should have the resistance when they're sober to not touch it. As soon as they drink that drink, the brain takes over and they drink and they drink and they drink. As soon as Charlie ate a piece of food, a piece of candy bar, it was over. He was going to eat until he threw up. And that's true for undereaters as well. They will resist the food. And if they don't eat, they will make it worse and worse by not eating more and more. So it's,
I think
I don't
this
know. I think people need to get over it. Like, I feel like when it comes to race, depending on what that race has to do with the story, is how you choose, right? You do something like guys in Egypt, they can't be white. I'm sorry, but they were. But they were. But nobody had a problem with that, and even Ridley Scott said so. And that's essentially a quote.
Done for the
He said
entire
so.
century we've been making film.
No,
So
for sure.
I think it does make a difference, like you said, in cases where it absolutely makes a difference. Like, just for example, and I don't want to get off topic, but I read the book The Help, and it was a fantastic book. And unless you're Black, you wouldn't understand what one of the biggest mistakes they made in making the movie, which is that her daughter is not white. That role they should have cast as a white woman because she's supposed to be light enough to pass.
Yes,
But they
right.
cast a light-skinned Black woman, which to anyone in history looks like a light-skinned Black woman.
Black woman,
It doesn't
right.
have the exact same effect. She's supposed to be able to meld into white society, and if she doesn't have Eurocentric features, if she's not slender, and they didn't cast a woman that looked like that, that's a big difference.
Right.
Now, for a lot of other roles, you could cast someone that's maybe androgynous or ambiguous as far as what their racial background is, but sometimes it absolutely matters. In this, his fatness was simply another character in the story. It is not the point of the story. So a fat suit does not matter. I really don't think it matters. It's not any different than the wheelchair or his walker.
Yeah.
It's simply meant as a device to tell the story.
Right.
Here's my way of looking at it. Because I had to stop when I was thinking. Hear me out, okay? The Batman. So they made a big deal about casting Colin Farrell in the role of the Penguin, and we made a big deal about we put this makeup on him, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's great and all. You tell me you couldn't find a character actor who looks like the body type of the Penguin to just hire that actor? You need to spend a couple more $1 million more to get a more name actor to give this transformation to him. Like, we made the joke that me and my friends made the joke that he looked like Richard Kind as the Penguin. And then the irony is, within that year, Richard Kind showed up in a gangster movie, and he was great. And I'm like, you could have just casted Richard Kind to be the Penguin. So I say that because that's a different situation than this movie. In this movie, as you said, Ray, if there was that great actor who is that size, there's all these reasons. I've never seen that actor before this movie ever existed. And even if that actor was to be in this movie, that actor would have been ridiculed, even if he was respected for playing that part.
But also, let's be honest, there are no 600-pound actors.
Right.
I mean, there could be some that's at home that's like, I used to be an amazing actor, but it is unrealistic.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic to be like, no, you should have got an actual 600-pound person. A 600-pound person couldn't walk out their front door.
Yeah.
A 600-pound person couldn't stand for a long time or be on a set for hours.
I was gonna say, the production itself would be taxing on the
100%.
On this person. A lot more money would have to go into preparing this set for a person of
Mhm.
that actual size.
Right.
If
Not only
that's
that,
the way
Well,
we're going to
that's
go.
the way,
their hotel's
the
gonna have to
ability
be
to tell
right
the
there.
story.
Like
Yeah.
everything's gonna have to be right there.
But because it's like really think about, and I'm talking about the critics, I'm talking about any quote
Mhm.
unquote fan or person that watched this film. Really think about the stupid stuff that you say, because it doesn't, it really, it has no bottom. It you know what I mean? It holds
Mhm.
nothing, because nobody else emotionally could play this role but Brendan Fraser,
Yes.
because of the things that he went through with his own weight gain and
Sure.
and like aesthetic transformation that people were just
Mhm.
up in arms about, without understanding why he went through those things off his
Have you
own
guys
trauma
seen
and
Brendan
grief and things like
Fraser
that.
lately? You remember that? That was
Yeah.
one
Right,
for a
yeah,
while.
for sure. Like that's literally what they were doing. So
Mhm.
not only emotionally is he already connected to this character and can tap in a way that nobody else really could, or they could try it, but it just wouldn't hit the same.
Yeah.
He was already a bigger man who tried to get bigger,
Yes.
but let's stop making it so actors have to completely transform themselves inside and out to do a role. Now, I'm not saying if we're casting for Martin Luther King, you get the best white man you can find who can
Right.
say, I have a dream.
Right.
I'm not saying that. But also, if you get a black man that, hey, maybe he don't look exactly like Martin Luther King, but
Right.
boy, does he give that speech just as powerful, then that's the person you go for.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a lot to say about that, because Will Smith winning for playing the
Richard.
Serena Williams, what is his name? I don't remember his
Richard
name.
Williams.
Richard Williams. He doesn't look like him. He's
No.
played
At all.
a lot of real men. He doesn't look like Christopher
all.
Gardner. Like the point is not can they do the performance. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that I
Yeah.
think is very paramount
Mhm.
to the top of the list. Can they carry the performance? And then what are the other characteristics that we need to be looking for?
Mhm.
Can we fudge it? Is it gonna pass
Right.
the smell test?
Right.
Right.
No.
And on top of that too, Venus and Serena literally picked Will Smith because
Right.
they knew what that
And they were on
he
the
could
production
bring.
the whole time.
Right,
Yeah.
they were on a production. They literally picked him because they knew that he could portray their father in the way that they wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Darren Aronofsky chose Brendan Fraser based off of his performance in Journey to the Center of the Earth. Like he picked him specifically. He knew he couldn't.
I
What
like
was
that you
that thing?
picked
I
that
read that
movie. You weren't serious that he picked him because of that movie, right?
Yeah.
That movie?
No, Journey to the End of the Night. I'm sorry, my fault.
Okay,
my
I
fault.
was like, don't get me
I just saw
wrong.
Journey,
Cute,
and my
cute
brain
movie.
I love-
went.
The
No.
performances
It's
were not
Journey to the.
the
I was totally
It's
gonna buy
Journey
with
to the
you
End
on
of the
that,
Night.
where I'm like, oh, did Aaron Aronofsky had like a random HBO night and went, hey, wait a minute.
I love this guy. Let's put him in.
Yeah,
the giant
because I
fat suit
read
and see
that
how this goes.
Aronofsky tried to make this movie for a decade,
Yeah.
but he
Wow.
just couldn't find the right actor. And then when he saw Brendan Fraser in Journey to the End of the Night, apologies, he was like, oh, that's Charlie.
Yeah.
Immediately. So it's like, did y'all not like the performance? Like, I'm not understanding. Okay,
Right.
It's
prosthetic
mostly
fat
because of
suit
the fat suit. That's what
aside,
people are so upset about. Is the fat suit?
Which is
itself.
not.
did you
that's
not?
absolutely
Did he
correct.
not do a good job? The boy
He
got an
did
Academy
Mr.
Award for a
Friday
reason.
last
He
night.
did an
Like-
Yeah, but he got
amazing
an Academy
job.
Award from a bunch of skinny people. Is the point? Okay,
Jesus Christ.
I'm playing
Yeah,
devil's
right,
advocate for us.
Right, no,
I
I get what you're
mean,
saying though. Yeah.
But here's the thing, though: if Hollywood allowed fat people to be in there, he probably would have got a vote for them too.
So we need to change
Yeah.
our society at large. There I go again.
We do,
We need to change
because
our
here's my
society
thing, right?
before they make
Society,
that
and this is like something that's really irritating because society don't like fat people no way. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Most of the clothes ain't meant for fat people. You know what I mean? All the clothes that are meant for fat people go up in price because why? More
Or
fabric.
they get
Cut
their
me a
own
break.
store.
Like
what the shit is
like,
that?
you know what I mean? Like, we gotta have separate stores. Like, I can't go to H&M because they ain't got my size. I can't go certain places because they ain't got my size. So I need society to stop acting like you actually care about fat people.
Correct.
Because nobody had it. Like, I'm a
They
nice
don't-
majority of fat people didn't have a problem. The ones that did it for clout, so that they can have
they
so
don't
that
have
their
a
numbers could go up.
cheaper clothing option. Like, so smalls and extra smalls don't cost less.
Right.
Why is that?
No, for sure.
Why, if it's about fabric,
No,
Why
for
aren't you
sure.
charging them less? Because it's
Yeah.
it's
No,
about
no, no.
desire. It's about that's what they want everybody to look like, right? They want everybody to be skinny.
Exactly.
I-
So it's like, don't. That's my thing. The false like uproar about it's fat phobic and you're dehumanizing. Y'all don't care about us, no way.
Right. Now, one of the advocates
don't
I've
act like
seen
you
for
do.
anti-fat suits is one of my TikTok friends who literally has made a firm stance in the sand on this and is like, if you fat suit, no, period. And I disagree with him, obviously, because I'm actually the kind of person that thinks that Fat Thor makes sense and is important because I felt
Yes.
represented in the Avengers when I saw him.
You're not the only one I've heard that.
Right. And it doesn't,
I've
and
definitely
I'm
heard
able
that
to
a
joke
lot.
about my weight a little bit and I'm able to look at that, but I'm 310 pounds. I'm
But that was
supposed to be
Chris's
like 200
image,
pounds. So
though.
I'm 100 plus pounds overweight. It's obvious when you look at me. It doesn't show from here up, but I'm one of those people that can kind of hide it from here up, right? I wear a beard to cover up the ridiculous.
Not you wear it.
chubbiness.
Do you pull it off at night? Like you just wear it.
Shut
I
up.
do. It's like Qui-Gon's from episode 1. I can just rip it off and
Nice.
no. I wear the beard because
He
you
just
do. You
unhooks it,
actually
right?
wear
He
a
just
beard.
unhooks
It's weird.
it, just like
But
put it up
Clearly.
for the
it is
night, let
true.
it drain.
We wear them.
You know,
I don't know, but we don't.
he washes it, hangs it up, let it air dry. You know,
It might be more sanitary, honestly. But for me, when I saw Fat Thor, not only was it great and clever, but it also made me go, I relate to this fucking superhero right now, and he's worthy even though he's a fat guy. That means something
That
to
is
fat people, whether you
why-
like it or not. Like,
That's why Chris made them keep the fat suit for the fight. Because after he discovered his worthiness, they were going to have him be skinny again. He was like, why? Why would I do that?
And he didn't
That's not the
magically
point
gain
of the
weight.
character.
right.
He was like, keep the body, and I can still fight to save the world, to
Right.
save the universe.
But he looked like a fucking Viking in that scene. Like, he looked so
Yeah.
badass in that
no,
scene.
he
Like,
technically looked like actual Thor from mythology.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I'm, look,
If we want to
I'm
say
not
to say,
saying they
he
should
finally
run
looks
out
like Thor.
and put a fat suit on everybody in every role.
Sure,
But I think that there are
absolutely.
times where it works and it makes people feel included. That's the
Yeah.
point
No,
of
because
this.
like think
It's
about
not
it.
what's
in,
behind the
in-
scenes. It's what you see and what you get from it when you watch the movie.
Exactly. It's but I feel like in Thor in the Thor case, it made sense what he
Yeah.
went through, right? 9 times out of 10, grief will either, depending on your body type, grief will make you lose all the weight or gain all of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like to show that like he's essentially human like the rest of us, because he technically is. He's just an advanced form of human,
Mhm.
essentially. But it's like he got fat because all he did was sit around and drink beer
Mhm.
and eat and did nothing. But that doesn't make him worthy. And just because he's still worthy doesn't mean he loses that weight. He's still carrying the grief.
And I like
Yeah.
that they
He's
made him
still
work it off in a
sad.
later film. Now, it was a little fast,
Right.
but he
That
did
dumb
have to
film,
work
yeah,
it
he
off.
worked it
Yeah.
off in that dumb film. Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
That's a whole nother thing.
Sorry.
So the real study is doing
Sorry.
something a little different. This is actually, we're down to 2 films because we are starting to scale back a bit. We're trying to get down to an hour. We failed miserably today. We're at a half hour over. That's okay.
It's okay.
We had a
It's
good
all
talk, and that's what's fun about
Blame Justin. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm a
It's
chatty.
completely Justin's fault.
I'm a chatty catty.
You know, it is what it is. But no, I think we should rate the whale and maybe
Wrap it
wrap it up. Yeah, so that we can get to next week because we're gonna finally get back to mainstream movies. That's about to happen. So we're kind of excited. Some TV shows, etc. So let's start with Justin. Go ahead and rate the whale.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Nice, good, solid rating. How about you, La?
Oh yeah. I give the whale a 9.5 because
That's really high for
the
La.
tears. It's not a 10 for me. But like the tears were flowing, man. This was like raw and guttural, and like it hit a part of me that like, because I am plus size, because I have binged ate like that before because of being sad or lonely or whatever you want to chalk it up. I've had those moments where I had to look at myself and be like, what are you doing to
Mhm.
yourself?
Yeah.
So 9.5. This one hit me. So yeah, 9.5.
Ray, what do you think?
I would say 8.5. Yeah, I thought it was really, really, really good.
I'm gonna give this a 9, only because I don't think it's gonna hit my rewatch list, which for me 10s are the full rewatches, the ones that I just always come back to over and over. but 9 is like the best you can get without being on my rewatch list, basically. So
Yeah.
this
My rewatches are reactions, so that's how I rewatch.
that's a good way to do it. I like that.
Very
Okay,
quick.
so both movies tonight have gotten high ratings. If you haven't seen either, we do suggest
Yeah,
both films.
check them out,
Kind of
y'all.
across the board, we as the panel think you should watch them. Law does have a message about social media, and we can get Justin's here as well.
Yes, I do. Listen here, y'all. So we are The Real Study. We love to review films, and we're trying to branch out and open up more and more content is coming from us really, really soon once we pinpoint some more things. But go ahead and follow us on all those social medias: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I think.
We're on all of them. The only one we're not
Facebook.
on is Threads, and it's because you can't have dual thread accounts at the same time on one phone yet, and I'm not gonna
Oh,
try
okay.
to
Yeah, we
branch
we
out
have
to
to worry
another
about
device
threads.
for
Yeah,
it.
we have to worry about threads. But we're on all social media, you guys. You join us. Also, join our Discord. We've streamlined it now. We're having great conversations in there about Star Trek with our Lieutenant Commander Ray. We have charm conversations with your girl BlackGirlMarvel, and we have all type of conversations going on in there. Just feel free to join us and come on in. You can also request a movie or a TV show or something for us to review. We always have the veto power though, but we rarely use it. So you can try it out and see if we pick what you pick, but we might, and because mainstream is back, throw us all the things. But also for our guest here, Justin, where can we follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Justin Quiz, Twitter, and I'm never calling it by the other name at Justin Quizon.
We call it Twitter here. It's fine.
Great. That's the only name I'll call it.
Only name.
Twitter's. And on TikTok, Justin Quiz.
All right.
Sweet.
So please do follow our guest as well as all of us on social media. As was mentioned, we did revamp the Discord. There are less channels for those that are kind of intimidated. I want to reiterate this because I know there's like half the people that use Discord are just like, what is this shit? I hate it. Just remember, it's like old school chat rooms, but for a specific topic. So Real Study is the topic, and you can break it down how you want into the little chat rooms. And at least it's modern. You can put pictures and videos and GIFs and things in there. So don't be intimidated. Just stop by, say hi, talk about any movie you want, and we will chat with you. So we're really trying to talk that.
And I just want to put this out there too. Do not feel any type of way if nobody gets back to you immediately. We are all on different time zones. Right. So, you might send something and it's nighttime for me and I'll see it in the morning and I'll get back to you. So like, just feel free, talk as much as you want. Somebody will always respond when they can respond.
100%. Yep, yeah, so we're from Hawaii all the way to Eastern time zone. So like,
yeah,
we span the U.S. Like
we span the time zones around here. So yeah.
But do look forward to next week. We will likely be doing some kind of Hollywood related film since we've been jonesing for 4 months to do this. So it might be Terminator.
Barbie, because I haven't seen Barbie.
Might be Barbie. If Oppenheimer's out, we're going to do our own Barbenheimer. We'll figure it out. And we are still going to do the Stranger Things because we want a lot to see that. So
yeah, because I haven't seen Stranger Things. I tried. I pushed play on it, and then Netflix was like doom doom, and then I was like, I'll go to something else, and I just went to.
Now Ray looked a little timid about Stranger Things.
That maybe we have that conversation off the air.
Sounds good. All right, guys.
Thanks for joining us, Justin. We appreciate you being here. You are always welcome back, by the way.
Yes, we do. We welcome you back anytime.
No, I'm saying you're always welcome back. If you ever think of a movie that you want us to review, that you want to be on, just let us know.
I might already have one. So I would love to come back. This is a lot of fun.
Awesome. Sweet. This has been week 5 of season 3 of episode 3 of season 3 of The Real Study, and we hope you guys have a fantastic evening. See you guys next time.
Bye.